Hey everyone, Mr. DVB here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 most anticipated games for the rest of 2021. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm doing this list, considering I made a top 10 list earlier this year on the exact same subject. The reason is because a lot of the games that made it onto that list were delayed until 2022, so it's a pretty outdated list in that sense, and I figured why not talk about, my current most anticipated games for the rest of the year. There's some on this list that did not make it onto the initial one, and so I thought this would be kind of just something fun to talk about and dive into a lot of these games, considering most of them that are on this list have had new gameplay and whatever shown recently that I hadn't talked about when they were first revealed or whatever, and when I first talked about them in my other video. So without further ado, let's get right into this. I do have one honorable mention to go over first, and that is Back 4 Blood. So Back 4 Blood is sort of the newest, I guess you could say, Left 4 Dead game. It's definitely heavily, based on it, just gameplay-wise and whatnot. I have never really played the Left 4 Dead games, to be honest. I've tried out one of them, I think, for about 5 minutes, so that's my history with those games. But Back 4 Blood looks pretty awesome so far. It is, again, a 4-person co-op game where you get to play with your friends and take on, tons and tons of zombies. The game introduces some really unique and honestly kind of creepy zombies. Some of them are like really mutated and have giant arms or other special things to them. So it looks like a pretty fun game. It is going to be on consoles and PC. On Xbox, it is going to be on Game Pass day one, so you don't have to buy it if you own Game Pass. I do plan on getting an Xbox Series X very soon. I'm trying to find one right now. But I will probably end up getting this on PlayStation and still paying for it anyways because my friends are on PlayStation, so unless this game offers crossplay, probably going to be picking it up on PlayStation so that I can play with my friends. But yeah, looking forward to Back 4 Blood quite a bit, and it comes out in October. Alright, moving on to the actual top 5 list. In 5th place, we have Far Cry 6. So, I am someone who enjoys the Far Cry games quite a bit. I do have sort of a limited history with them. I've only played Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 5, a little bit of Far Cry 3 as well, but not enough to really say I've played the full game or anything like that. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed these games. I think they're really good first-person shooters for the most part. I like a lot of the kind of survival aspects to them. There are some weak points. It's more so just to do with level design. I'm not a huge fan of how there's a lot of like hallucination missions in those games. They get kind of repetitive and annoying since there's not really much to make them feel different from each other. The hallucination missions in 4 feel identical to the hallucination missions in 5, and I just don't really enjoy those levels, to be honest. So I'm hoping Far Cry 6 kind of ditches that and just gives us a more straightforward game. But from what we've seen so far, it looks to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more out there and taking itself a little bit less seriously, which I'm cool with. Mostly just when it comes to, how some of the weapons are being used. There's some that, we'll be playing music and then you can fire CDs at enemies and whatnot. So things like that look kind of humorous. On top of that, you have Giancarlo Esposito as the villain, which is going to be awesome. I mean, he is incredible as Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. I love him as Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian, so having him as the villain in the Far Cry game should be, just awesome. I'm sure he's going to be top-notch, probably one of the best villains that we've seen in the game before. Would not surprise me. The setting of the game looks really awesome as well. It's set in what is supposed to be, similar to Cuba. They just don't call it that directly. So you have a lot of people working on cars and stuff, fixing them up. So there's going to be a lot of old-fashioned cars to drive around, just like in Cuba. There is a dictatorship going on with, obviously, Giancarlo Esposito being that person. So it's going to be pretty cool, in my opinion. I think having, an urban setting with, like, a city, and then having on top of that, like, multiple islands to explore, swampier areas, whatnot. I think it's going to be really cool just having that, contrast between different locations, and visually the game looks really, really nice. The graphics in the world and whatnot look really good. The character models like a little bit weird, some of them in my opinion, from what we've seen, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a really fun game, and I look forward to playing it when it releases in October. So yeah. Alright, moving on to 4th place, we have Kena Bridge of Spirits. So this is a smaller game coming out in August. It's an indie game developed by a, smaller company, obviously, hence the title indie game. But this looks really cool, in my opinion. Visually, it looks fantastic. It looks like, some kind of Pixar or Disney film. Just really gorgeous art style. The colors are fantastic. The gameplay looks to be pretty fun from what we've seen, and it's just a game that I am really intrigued by. I probably am a little bit more excited for Far Cry 6 as a general game, but just, I am more intrigued by this, and I definitely think this could be a really special game when it releases in August. It's not full price either, which is nice. I'm going to be picking it up on PS5. And yeah, visually, everything, like I said, it looks really, really beautiful. I love the art style of it. Looks like it's going to be fun, the way that they integrate, like, the combat and whatnot. The traversal looks really nice as well. So yeah, really excited checking out this game. It's one that I'll definitely review for you guys. And yeah, Kena Bridge of Spirits. Alright, moving on to third place, we have a game that honestly might not even be releasing this year. It's so hard to tell with this game, and that is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. This game has been all over the place from a marketing standpoint. Or not even really, because the marketing's been so terrible for this game. There hasn't been a trailer in over a year, which is just ridiculous in my opinion. They've done a very poor job with marketing this game, and it's a game that I'm really excited for, because what we know about this game, it sounds like it's going to be, the best LEGO game ever released. And I do have a lot of nostalgia for the older LEGO games, but putting that nostalgia aside, just, some of the gameplay elements and stuff that's going to be present in the Skywalker Saga sounds phenomenal. First of all, you can fly from planet to planet, which that right there was something that when this game was announced, I remember talking to my friends saying, oh, it would be awesome if you could fly to planet, but not in a million years did I think they would actually do it. But those madmans at TT Games went ahead and they actually made it so you can fly from planet to planet. I mean, that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to witness that. While you're flying from planet to planet, a Star Destroyer can come out of hyperspace and start attacking you, so you're going to have like these awesome aerial, or I guess space battles, whatever you want to call them. It sounds great, and I cannot wait to pick up this game. There's like 28 or 30 planets or something like that to explore, all open world. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I do have like some worries with the game. The levels are supposed to be rather short, like 10 or so minutes long, and just focusing on things like boss fights. I'm hoping they're not really lackluster levels, and then it's just everything else about the game is good. I'm hoping that the levels are great, and that we have this amazing world to explore. We'll see. But yeah, I'm hoping it comes out this year. I imagine it will. I honestly don't see it being delayed again. Right now it's indefinitely delayed, but I am pretty sure it's going to be coming out this year. My guess is probably around like October or so. We'll see. I guess there is a chance it could be delayed, and that would suck, and then this list would once again be invalid, but we'll see. So yeah, LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Cannot wait. Alright, coming in second place, we have Horizon 2 Forbidden West. This game is currently set to come out in 2021, although there is not a set-in-stone release date, so hopefully it doesn't end up being delayed. I honestly think that is a possibility, but I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping this comes out. If it does, my guess is November. That's kind of when I'm thinking this game will release. It could release even later than that, in like December. I have no idea, but yeah, I'm really excited for this game. When it comes to the first Horizon, I'm actually somebody who doesn't love that game, to be honest. I tried it out back in 2017, and I didn't really get into it, and I ended up just playing it over the course of like 3 years, finally finishing it last year. And it's just, it's one of those games I would just pick up every once in a while and put in like an hour or two, and then just kind of get off of it because I wasn't really feeling it. And I actually got into it towards the end, but I honestly didn't even remember what the story was about up to that point, so it was kind of just a weird experience. It's a game I definitely need to revisit before this new one comes out, but everything I've seen about Forbidden West already hooks me. I mean, it looks better than the first one by a large margin already. The location of the game is gorgeous. The open world here is phenomenal. I remember when, Ghost of Tsushima came out last year, and everybody thought that was just a milestone in, open world gaming, just from a visual standpoint. The game is beautiful, but this already makes it look outdated. I mean, just the lighting and the quality of the graphics and the textures and whatnot are phenomenal here. The combat looks great. There's some improvements they've made to the gameplay, which looks really fun. I think the whole, like, not zip line, but that element where you can, like, shoot a rope or whatever you want to call it and, like, pull yourself. I guess it's kind of a zip line, yeah. It looks pretty cool, or I guess a grapple hook. That looks awesome. The more in-depth hand-to-hand combat looks pretty cool. The fact that now when you're fighting regular human enemies, when their armor is breaking and stuff, it kind of highlights what part is being broken. Things like that. Just little minor things that I think are going to do quite a bit to improve the gameplay. The climbing sections look way better. In the first game, there were kind of those annoying climbing sections where there's only a few specific things you could climb. Here it seems like you can climb a lot of things, and you can use your little HUD thing, I don't even remember what it's called, but to view what is actually climbable. I think that's a really cool way of integrating it into the game without making the climbable things like stand out like they do in Uncharted games, for example, where they have things colored differently and it looks a little bit, unrealistic. So I think that's, just a nice visual thing to have. And then there's that fight with the elephant. I mean, that fight with the elephant creature looks insane. The music, the sound design, just everything is going on there. It's so chaotic, but so awesome looking, and I cannot wait to experience that kind of gameplay when this game eventually releases. I don't really have too many worries about it, to be honest. I'm hoping that it's more gripping than the first game was for me. I think it already looks like it will be because I'm going to be just super invested in discovering, all the secrets of this game and just exploring the world. But yeah, really excited for Horizon 2 Forbidden West to drop later this year. Alright, and finally, in first place, my most anticipated game for the rest of 2021, we have Battlefield 2042. So I'm somebody who loves the Battlefield games. My first one ever was Battlefield 3, and then I would play, Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, and, throughout the years, I went back and played a little bit of things like Bad Company 2, etc., and it's my favorite first-person series, without a doubt. I mean, I enjoy elements of Call of Duty, but if I'm going to be playing, any multiplayer game that's a shooter, it's going to be Battlefield, because you get these ginormous maps with 64 players, with vehicles, and, amazing in-game destruction where buildings can literally be destroyed on top of you. It's awesome, and it's like something that, Call of Duty just can't even compete with, in my opinion. Yeah, there's still people who prefer Call of Duty, and that's fine, but for me, it's just... There's something about Battlefield that's just way more special than those smaller maps you get on Call of Duty. So all that being said, the reason I'm excited for 2042 is because, well, it's a Battlefield game, but on top of that, it's going to be having that same gameplay I just discussed, but with 128 players. And I know, and that is a huge number, but I do realize it might not sound as crazy as it might have used to if it wasn't for games like Fortnite and Warzone or whatever to exist, because those do have 100-player lobbies. But the difference is that in those games, you have to run around, find your weapons, you die, you're out permanently. Here, it's just one giant chaotic battlefield. You have whatever weapons you want when you spawn, and you just do things. You just go around, you get in a tank, you blow somebody up, you get in a helicopter with some of your friends, they fly, you're using the minigun, or vice versa. I mean, it's awesome. It's truly great, and I cannot wait for that. This honestly looks like a return to a more traditional Battlefield. I liked Battlefield 1 quite a lot. I wasn't the biggest fan of the weapons, but that's just because that was the time frame. They couldn't just, throw in a bunch of, over-the-top, modern weapons that didn't exist in World War I. It was just kind of like the lack of customization stuff that didn't really make it feel like I was progressing a whole lot in Battlefield 1. Battlefield 5 was marketed very poorly. The game itself I actually had some fun with, but I spent nowhere near as much time on it as I did with Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4, which is my most played Battlefield. And this game definitely looks like Battlefield 4 to me, like just gameplay visually, it looks more like Battlefield 4 slash Battlefield 3, which are my two favorite Battlefield games. So this definitely looks like it's kind of going back to those days, and I'm all for that. It's going to be slightly futuristic, but not Call of Duty futuristic, where you're going into space. Mostly, it just seems like there's going to be some more high-tech, gadgets and stuff running around the battlefield, which is going to be pretty awesome. There is no single-player campaign, which is alarming for some people. I honestly don't really care. That being said, it is a little bit annoying that the game is going to be full price. And when I say full price, I mean the new $70 American / $90 Canadian price point. That is a little bit frustrating, honestly. But I can get over that as long as the game is just going to give me, tons of fun, chaotic, online. Then I'm happy. So really excited for Battlefield 2042. There's some really cool things they're doing with the maps. For example, there's one map that has a tornado that just kind of goes through the map and just rips apart buildings and stuff. That'll be awesome. I'm really excited for that. The game is, introducing more kind of specialist, whatever you want to call it. In the previous Battlefield games, there's 4 different classes. You have your engineer, your assault, your support, and your recon, I think is what they call the sniper class. I might be wrong with that. But here, it's like you have those, but then you also have these newer groups, or newer classes, whatever you want to call them, who have their own special things. Like one class has a grapple hook, one has a drone that they can fly around. I'm interested to see how that will turn out, because I do love classic Battlefield gameplay and just, unlocking those things, and then any of those classes can really carry those things, but we'll see how it goes with this game. I think it could be interesting. It definitely sounds like they're taking some inspiration from Rainbow Six Siege. But yeah, those are my top 5 most anticipated games of 2021. If you are new to the channel and enjoyed what you watched today, then subscribe for more movie and game-related content. Thank you. Bye-bye.